Hullabaloo in the Guava Orchard is a novel by Kiran Desai, published in 1998. This Asian literature is set during the 1990s in Shahkot, a small remote town in the Punjab province of India. The humor novel is satire and is from the third-person omniscient narrative perspective. Kapila Pradhan was an Indian man who lived in a tree for 15 years and served as the inspiration for the main character Sampath Chawla in the Hullabaloo in the Guava Orchard. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The novel begins during the monsoon season when the town of Shahkot faces a severe drought and heat wave. A strange woman named Kulfi begins acting even more unusual than before, with intense, exotic food cravings caused by her pregnancy, but the drought makes it hard to find what she wants. Her husband, Mr. Chawla, and her mother-in-law, Ammaji, try to explain Kulfi's peculiar behavior to the curious neighbors, but her cravings only grow stronger. One day, Kulfi fills the walls of her house with colorful crayon drawings of different foods. At that exact moment, the monsoon finally arrives, Kulfi goes into labor, and the Red Cross drops off long-awaited food and supplies for Shahkot. The neighbors suggest she name her newborn son Sampath, meaning good fortune. 20 years later, Sampath is a fidgety, scatter-brained young man who works at the Shahkot post office as a clerk. He still lives in the same tiny house with his mother, Kulfi, his commanding father, Mr. Chawla, his kind grandmother Ammaji, and his strong-willed teenage sister, Pinky. Kulfi still has strange behavior and cravings. Sampath has never been good at school, and his future doesn't look promising, which frustrates Mr. Chawla. Sampath dislikes his boring job at the post office and secretly reads other people's private mail. One night, at his boss's daughter's wedding, Sampath gets drunk and makes a fool of himself by stripping and dancing in a fountain. As a result, he gets fired. Feeling overwhelmed by his sad life, Sampath has a moment of clarity when he accidentally bursts a guava fruit in his hands. The next morning, after being fired, he takes a bus to an abandoned guava orchard outside the town, climbs the biggest tree he can find, and feels peaceful up there. At first, his family is confused and tries to bring him down, but Kulfi seems to understand why he wants to live in the tree. When Sampath rejects his family's proposal of marriage, the townspeople become curious about him. During one attempt to get him down, Sampath speaks to a crowd below, revealing surprising details he learned from reading people's mail. The crowd believes he has psychic power and starts calling him a holy man. Seeing an opportunity to make money, Mr. Chawla lets Sampath stay in the tree and continue his sermons, which are really just random advice he makes up for fun. One regular visitor is secretly a member of the Atheist Society and part of a branch to uncover fraudulent holy men. The spy tries to prove Sampath is a fraud, but he has no luck. Sampath's fame spreads in the local newspapers and Mr. Chawla earns money from it. Sampath's family moves near the orchard and monetarily exploits the public's perception of Sampath being a prophet-like figure. Buses start to bring visitors to the orchard regularly. Photographers and journalists come to interview Sampath for news articles. Sampath seems happier than ever while receiving clothes, medicine, and food atop the tree. Kulfi enjoys gathering exotic ingredients for the elaborate meals she prepares for him. One day, a group of monkeys moves into Sampath's orchard and starts to like him. But soon, they discover alcohol brought by one of Sampath's visitors, become drunk, and begin to cause chaos in the town in search of more alcohol. The local government comes up with several plans to handle the monkeys, but nothing works. Eventually, the situation divides the town, with some people wanting to respect the monkeys and others just wanting them gone. Sampath grows stressed and sick as he watches his visitors argue about the monkeys. He ran away to the tree to escape responsibility, but now he feels trapped in new, difficult expectations. He realizes the peace he once had in the grove is gone, and he wants to escape before it becomes permanent. One morning, as the government and military arrive to remove the monkeys, they find that Sampath has somehow turned into a large guava. The monkeys carry the guava away into the wilderness, out of sight. At the same time, the spy from the Atheist Society climbs a tree above Kulfi's cooking pot, thinking it holds drugs for Sampath. But the branch he's holding snaps, and he falls into the pot. The crowd wonders what caused the loud splash as they slowly approach the bubbling pot. Let's thematically analyze Hullabaloo in the Guava Orchard by Kiran Desai. The 1990s were a time of major social change and economic growth for India, as the country started adopting more modern, liberal policies. In the novel, Shahkot seems slow to catch up with these changes, but the growth still affects the characters. Sampath feels overwhelmed by modern life, wishing for simpler times before he had so many career pressures and responsibilities. On the other hand, Mr. Chala represents the new era of economic growth, fully embracing the idea of making money through hard work and clever business strategies. Desai's novel reflects the political changes in India during the 1990s, with Sampath's frustration with modern life potentially resonating with many people during that time. Even as the challenges of modern life slowly ruin Sampath's peaceful existence in the orchard, nature is shown as far more powerful and meaningful than anything the modern world can offer. From the start, both Sampath and Kulfi want to escape to a simpler life. Sampath feels trapped in the busy, stifling town of Shahkot, while Kulfi dreams of freely collecting exotic ingredients from the wilderness. This desire for freedom highlights the difference between the two worlds. Modern life is bland, controlled, and limiting, while nature is uncontrollable, thrilling, and freeing. Sampath finds spiritual meaning in observing simple natural events, but when he tries to understand modern life, he only feels lost and uninterested. As the story goes on, nature and modern life begin to clash, but in the end, nature prevails. After Sampath escapes modern life by living in a tree, Mr. Chala starts bringing modern distractions, like crowds and advertisements, into the peaceful orchard. However, the monkeys in the orchard soon disrupt Shahkot. The town's leaders fail miserably to deal with the monkeys, while Sampath and the monkeys manage to escape modern life again in the novel's ending chapter. By mysteriously turning into a large guava and having the monkeys carry him away, Sampath achieves the freedom he always wanted. His escape suggests that nature is more powerful than humanity's attempts to control it. In Hullabaloo in the Guava Orchard, two forms of patriarchy are present, linking women and nature. In traditional Indian society, women are controlled by a patriarchal system that limits their power and freedom. For example, Kulfi is manipulated by these patriarchal norms, especially in her marriage. The novel also explores how patriarchal colonialism leads to the exploitation of nature. Mr. Chala seeks to profit from the guava orchard, seeing it as a source of money. Both women and nature are treated as inferior and exploitable in this system. Mr. Chala dismisses Kulfi's strange behavior because he believes she cannot be understood in a rational, human way. In his eyes, women are linked to untamed nature and are seen as lesser than men, which distances him from both women and nature. Mr. Chala's failure to control Kulfi and Sampath's behavior, as well as the unpredictable actions of the monkeys, highlights this wild, non-patriarchal nature. Kulfi symbolizes nature, and her obsession with cooking ties her to the natural world. She only cooks for Sampath, trusting his judgment over the rest of the family. She cooked only for Sampath, leaving Ammaji to cater to the rest of the family, for his was the only judgment Kulfi trusted. Kulfi's deep connection with nature helps strengthen Sampath's bond with his mother and the natural world. Mr. Chala, representing the patriarchal, rational male, cannot understand Kulfi's actions or Sampath's thoughts. He looks down on Kulfi's strange cooking habits, viewing her as wild and untamed, just like nature. Mr. Chala expects his son to fulfill the role of a superior male, reflecting a belief that neglects and demeans women by seeing them as ignorant. Similarly, Vermaji, the head of the biology department at Lady Chatterjee University, dismisses his wife's thoughts as childish retorts and doesn't involve her in his intellectual pursuits. Through Mr. Chala's portrayal as a capitalist, Desai shows him as someone who values profit above all else. He sees the guava orchard, which has been left to nature for years, as useless and unproductive. To Mr. Chala, nature is an outside force that cannot challenge his patriarchal control. His fear of the unknown nature is clear when he worries about the events involving Sampath in the orchard. For him, Sampath's behavior is less rational and is closer to the sphere of nature, and especially as closer to animality. He sees Sampath's behavior as animalistic and less rational, representing his belief that nature is something to dominate and control. Mr. Chala plans to profit from the orchard by using it to build a temple and gain wealth through business ventures. However, his desire to control nature leads to his failure. The orchard, once a potential source of profit, falls apart when Sampath escapes with his loyal monkeys, and the spy who tries to expose Sampath ends up falling into Kulfi's cooking pot. Do comment and subscribe for more videos.